Hi everyone, today our goal is I can multiply a mixed number by a mixed number. For this first problem, I just want you to watch and listen as I share my thinking and solve the problem. So here we have the expression 2 3/4 times 3 2/3. I'm going to solve this expression using two methods. I'm going to first show you the distributive method, which we learned in the previous lesson, and I'm also going to show you how to multiply these mixed numbers together by creating a fraction greater than 1 and multiply using that method. First, we'll use the distributive property. So we have 2 plus 3/4. So we decompose 2 3/4, and we're going to multiply that by 3 plus 2/3. So remember, with the distributive property, you're going to multiply everything in this set of numbers by everything in this set of numbers. I like to track my thinking by drawing some lines from, so I remember what I've multiplied. So I have 2 times 3, which is 6, and I have 2 times 2/3, which is 4/3. So 6 plus 4/3. Then I've used my 2. So I have 3/4 times 3, 3/4 times 3, which is 9/4. And I have 3/4 times 2/3, which is 6/12. My next step is to find a common denominator because I need to add my fractions. And I know that 12ths will be my common denominator. So we're going to have 12ths as my common denominator for each of those fractions. That's already 6/12. So I know that to get 4/3, write an equivalent fraction to that, I multiply by 4/4, which gives me 16/12, and 9/4 I multiply by 3/3, and that gives me 27/12. So now I have a common denominator for each of those fractions, so now I can easily add them together. When I add my fractions together, I get my whole number still, plus 49/12. Now I have to write that fraction greater than 1 as a mixed number and add it to my whole number. So I know that 12 times 4 is 48, so that's 6 plus 4. I know I have 4 wholes in there, and I know I have 1/12 remaining, which gives us 10 1/12. Now, what I love about this method is it takes everything we've learned up to this point and puts it into use, because we're multiplying whole numbers by whole numbers. We're multiplying whole numbers by fractions. We're multiplying fractions by fractions. We are finding equivalent fractions and common denominators. We are taking fractions greater than 1 and writing them as mixed numbers. So it literally takes everything we've done up to this point and puts it to use. Now with the same problem, I'm going to show you a different method when we write our fractions, mixed number as fractions greater than 1 to start with. So 2 3/4, I've got 2 sets of 4/4 plus my 3/4, which gives us 11/4, and I'm going to multiply that by, I have 3 sets of 3/3 plus my 2/3, which gives us 11/3. So 11/4 times 11/3 is 121/12. So now we need to write 121/12 as a mixed number. In my opinion, the easiest way to do that is to divide out the fraction. So 121 divided by 12, because fractions are division. We remember that. And that means 12 goes into 120 10 times. So subtract that out, and we have 1 remaining. So a 0 in our ones place, and our remainder is rewritten as a fraction. So we have 10 1/12. So 121/12 equals 10 1/12, which was accurate when we look back at our distributive property method. We also got 10 1/12. Both methods work. Both methods are correct. It's really a matter of preference, and sometimes certain numbers lend themselves to a certain method, but really it's up to you to choose which method you prefer. For this next problem, I'd like you to solve it along with me in your journal. So I'm going to solve this problem using both methods again. The reason for that is so you have a quality example of each method in your journal, then you can make the decision of which you prefer or a mixture of both. So first we rewrite 5 and 3/7 times 3 and 2/3. We decompose them to 5 plus 3/7 times 3 plus 2/3. Now remember, we're going to multiply everything in one set by everything in the other set. So we have 5 times 3 first, which is 15. And then 5 times 2/3, which is 10/3. So we've used our 5. I'll just cross that out as a reminder. And 3/7 times 3 is 9/7. And 3/7 times 2/3 is 6/21. So now we have multiplied everything out to this point. Next step is we need to find a common denominator. This will always be our common denominator because we have multiplied the 7 and the 3 together. So that's just a quick, easy tip to remember that your final fraction will be, when you multiplied your two fractions together, you automatically found a common denominator. So we'll have 15 plus something over 21 plus something over 21 plus 6/21. So 3 times 7 is 21, so 10/3 times 7/7 is 70/21. 7 times 3 is 21, so 9/7 times 3/3 is 27/21. So now we have our common denominators, and we will add our fractions together. And 70 plus 27 is 97, plus 6 is 103. So we have 15 plus 103/21. Knowing that 20 times 5 is 100, 21 times 5 would be 105, so I know that I can pull 4 holes out of there. So that's 15 plus 4, because 21 times 4 is 84, so I just need to figure out what I have left. So 103 minus 84, and regroup that again. So that gives us 19. So that's 19/21, which gives us 19 and 19/21. Now we'll solve it again by using fractions greater than 1. So I know that we have 7/7 5 times, so that's 5 times 7 is 35, plus our 3/7, that's 38/7, 38/7, times, we've got 3/3 3 times, so that's 3 times 3, which is 9, 10, 11/3. So here we have 38/7 times 11/3. We'll certainly need to multiply that out because we're not going to be doing 38 times 11 in our head. So go off to the side, multiply 38 times 11. We get 38 and 380, 11, and 418. So 38 times 11 is 418 over 21. Now we'll need to write that as a mixed number. So we will need to divide 418 divided by 21. Know that 21 can go into 410 just one time, or 10 times, sorry, without going over. So that's 210, 0, 2, 8. And I'm pretty positive that 21 goes into 208 9 times, because 21 times 10 would be 210. I'll put that as 9. 9 times 21 is 189. So we'll subtract that out. And we should get 19, which we do. So we get 19 and 19 over 21. So here, I'll just draw an arrow since I took up my space there. So writing 418 over 21 as a mixed number is 19 and 19 over 21. For this last problem, I'd like you to pause the video, solve it on your own, come back and check your work. I am going to be using the method, the second method we were using, which is converting to a fraction greater than 1 and then multiplying. Now, you can use whichever method you like. Just come back, check your work, and your product will, if you use the distributive property method, then your product will have to match mine. I would like to say, though, I do think the distributive property is more fun because there's more math involved. Using fractions greater than 1, there's a few less steps, but we don't get to pull out all of our bag of tricks. So go ahead and pause the video and solve this expression. So I know that 4 and 5 sixths is 29 sixths, and we'll be multiplying that by 19 fourths. 29 times 19 is 551, so we have 551 24ths. So we will divide 551 divided by 24. First, 24 goes into 550 20 times. 24 goes into 71 2 times. So 71 minus 48 is 23. So we have 22 and 23 24ths. So 551 24ths equals 22 and 23 24ths.